PBS.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, we continue our visit to Austin, Texas.
Really?
Another great hour of antiques and the stories behind them.
I'm just shocked.
Antiques Roadshow, only on PBS.
Here on OPB, Monday night at 8.
Personal butlers, cars furnished in gold and marble, stunning landscapes from the Royal Canadian Pacific to India's Royal Orient. Get on board for the ultimate journey in style and leisure. Your reservation is confirmed for world-class training.
Here on OPB, Wednesday night at 8. Corporate members Oregon Business Magazine, Oregon Home Magazine, and Exact Imaging have made a contribution to the OPB Program Fund for Excellence. Additional funding has been provided by you, the contributing members of OPB.
PBS brings you the story of the greatest empire in history. It survived disasters, civil wars, and invasions, and became the world's first and most enduring superpower. This is the Roman Empire in the 1st century.
Here on OPB, Wednesday night at 9.
In Sisters, it's the OPB Outpost inside the Paulina Springs Book Company.
Funding for local broadcast of Nightly Business Report has been provided by viewers like you and by the following.
SAFE Corporation, working for Oregon to prevent on-the-job injuries and to manage the cost of workers' compensation insurance. SAFE, on the job for Oregon.
Not everyone understands supply chain management, but we do. We straighten out supply chains for leading companies worldwide. CNF, where supply meets demand.
Three positive economic reports set a positive tone for the day on Wall Street. The Dow closes up 60 points and the NASDAQ index gains 9. Good evening. I'm Paul Kangas in Miami.
And I'm Susie Garib in New York City. Tonight's Market Monitor guest thinks this week's rally on Wall Street signals an interim bottom for the stock markets. We talk with Ned Riley, Chief Investment Strategist at State Street Global Advisors. Then, America's retailers want you to spend your $300 tax rebate. We'll tell you what they're doing to get your bucks into their businesses.
Nightly Business Report is brought to you by
Compaq. Technology solutions to help you achieve your inspirations for life and work. Inspiration technology from Compaq.
Franklin Templeton Investments, providing a perspective for success through Franklin, Templeton, and Mutual Series funds. Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain perspective.
A.G. Edwards, combining tradition and technology to serve clients' investment needs. A.G. Edwards, trusted advice, exceptional service.
Markets may rise, or they may fall. Who helps companies prepare for the unpredictable? For business advisory services, the answer is the people of Deloitte & Touche.
Good evening, everyone. A sense of security on Wall Street. Stocks posted modest gains a day after the best market rally in weeks. The Dow rose 60 points and the Nasdaq notched up 9. The markets had 3 positive economic reports in their favor today. Here's Suzanne Pratt with the news and analysis.
U.S. consumers eased up on shopping last month, but they didn't stay out of stores entirely. According to the Commerce Department, June retail sales edged up 0.2%. That follows a revised gain in May. June sales were slightly weaker than expected and fueled almost entirely by auto purchases. But some economists say that's a good thing.
So far this year, consumers have been willing to spend on big-ticket items like cars and houses. And that is really very encouraging sign of long-term optimism that the consumer is willing to take on those long-dated commitments.
Consumers may be more willing to spend because their confidence is growing. The University of Michigan's preliminary July Consumer Sentiment Index, also released today, pushed up to 93.7 from 92.6 in June. The Expectations Index also rose, jumping to 89.5. Economists say confidence is stabilizing as interest rate cuts and pending tax rebates are offsetting worries about the job market. Yet some say the resiliency of consumer spending is still in doubt.
I think we've got more weakness from the consumer. I think that we're going to see more job losses. I think that firms are still under pressure. The weakness from overseas is spreading. We had declining both export and import prices reported just a day or so ago. So we can see this pressure is out there.
One thing Wall Street and Main Street don't have to worry about is inflation. The Producer Price Index, a measure of wholesale inflation, slid 0.4% in June. That's after a slim gain in May. Falling energy prices led the drop in the latest month.
I think there's no sign that inflation's a problem. If anything, disinflation, deflation remains the theme. We see that just about in all commodity prices, whether it's metals prices, energy prices.
Consumers are getting less pessimistic, but experts say what's missing from the economy so far is a catalyst to make consumers more optimistic. And that, they say, is key to any economic recovery. Suzanne Pratt, Nightly Business Report, New York.
Stocks opened modestly lower on Wall Street today under the pressure of some widely expected profit-taking in the wake of yesterday's sharp rally, which lifted the Dow Industrial Average 238 points or 2.3%, and the Nasdaq index nearly 104 points or 5.3%. The early downturn was surprisingly mild, however, as the Dow was off only 37 points at 10 a.m., while the Nasdaq index fell just 15 points. Encouraged by that resilient performance, investors began to move cautiously back to the buy side as morning trading progressed, getting some additional confidence from that report showing a decline in June producer prices. In a slow but steady upturn, the industrial average moved to a 60-point gain by 1 p.m. when the Nasdaq index was up 19 points. The market ran into resistance at that early afternoon level as the usual pre-weekend caution and evening up operations prevented further upward progress. But the Dow Jones Industrial Average still managed to post a respectable closing gain of 60.07 points, putting it at 10,539.06. This week, the Dow fell only once and rose 4 times and had a net overall advance of 286.38 points. That's 2.8%. Today, the Nasdaq Composite rose just over 9 points to close at 2,084.79. This week, the composite index fell once, rose 4 times, just like the Dow, and had a net overall gain of 80.63 points, and that's 4% on the upside. Big board volume today down considerably from yesterday at 1.1 billion shares, about a 7-to-4 ratio of up volume over down volume. The Dow Transport Index up just over 38 points, a loss of 1 1/3 in the utility index. The closing tick fairly bullish at plus 512. Standard & Poor's 500 up just over 7.5 points, a gain of 4.39 on the 100. The mid-cap 400 gained 2.61. Bridge Futures Price Index fell 1.61. New York Stock Exchange Composite up nearly 3.5, a gain of 1.28 in the value line. The Russell 2000 Small Cap Index up 1.67, and the broadly based Wilshire 5000 up almost 63.75 points. The bond market looked kindly upon that report of a decline in June producer prices, but traders were still inclined to take some profits from recent sessions where the Argentine debt crisis produced good gains from safe haven buying. A firm dollar and weaker New York oil futures helped keep tax-free and corporate issues steady to maybe even up 1/8, while the Treasury market ended mostly higher. The 5-year notes were down 1/32 only, but the 10-year notes up 4/32, and the 30-year bond up 11/32, while the Lehman Brothers long-term Treasury bond index gained 1.17. I'll be back shortly to show you where the action was on Wall Street today. Susie?
Paul, as those June figures show, when it comes to retail sales, the shopping bag has been half full. But in 10 days, the U.S. Treasury will begin mailing out $300 tax rebate checks. And as Darren Gersh reports, retailers are wondering if they'll be able to coax consumers into spending that money in their stores.
If you're not sure what to do with your tax rebate, retailers have plenty of ideas. This weekend, Lowe's will feature home projects on its website that cost $300 to $600.
We expect to see a pretty significant percentage of that tax rebate dollar going into the home, and hopefully that will be spent at Lowe's.
It's not every day that the government mails out $40 billion in tax rebate checks, and that has certainly gotten the attention of retailers. But the industry is surprisingly divided over just how great an opportunity this is. Because the Treasury will be sending out checks based on Social Security numbers, retailers say it's hard to know when and where those checks will arrive, making it harder to set up a marketing campaign. Also, any promotion would have to run for the entire 10 weeks it will take the government to get all the checks in the mail. At Washington's Red Sage restaurant, General Manager Ralph Rosenberg wanted to run a tax rebate marketing promotion, but gave up on the idea.
Restaurants are kind of like dog years. 10 weeks is like a long time for a restaurant.
Retailers like Target, Kmart, Circuit City, and Best Buy all say they aren't gearing up special rebate marketing campaigns. Sears expects customers will use their rebate checks to pay bills first and doesn't predict a significant lift in sales. Even so, industry expert Kurt Barnard says many retailers will use every trick in the book to bring rebate dollars into their stores. But Barnard argues those sales will come at a price.
And those incentives will be very strong and very good, but they will come at the cost of gross margins and at the cost of profits.
Dell Computer is more optimistic. This weekend, the computer maker will begin offering free shipping and DVD upgrades. On Monday, Dell plans to announce additional promotions and hopes the tax rebates will add to a strong back-to-school selling season.
Certainly some of the excitement and the demand that we're seeing in the marketplace is as a result of either folks having the rebate check in hand or the expectation that they will have that check.
Walmart and Ames are offering to cash tax rebate checks in their stores. But most retailers say it is business as usual. They aren't pinning their hopes on the tax rebate, although they say it would be nice if some of that money walks in their doors. Darren Gersh, Nightly Business Report, Washington.
Congress is looking at ways to help farmers suffering through record low commodity prices. A proposal now in the House Agriculture Committee would call for paying farmers of grain, cotton, and wheat if crop prices fall below certain levels. The estimated cost of that program would be at about $48 billion over 10 years. The measure is part of a draft revision of the 1996 Farm Bill. Proponents hope the payments can give farmers some relief from low prices without violating World Trade Organization rules on farm subsidies. The House Agriculture Committee hopes to finish work on the proposal early next month.
It's not all fun and games for Toys R Us. The nation's #1 toy seller warned today that second quarter and full year profits will fall short of forecasts. Analysts had expected a loss of 10 cents a share in the quarter. The company now says it'll be more like a loss of 14 cents. The culprits, a slowing economy and higher than expected costs to remodel Toys R Us stores. Paul?
Susie, investors sent the shares lower, but down just 35 cents, closing at $24.80. The market itself followed through nicely on yesterday's big rally, with the Dow up 60 points, or 0.6%. Broader market nicely higher by 17 to 12 margin, 121 new yearly highs, only 45 new lows. Lucent Technologies topped the active list on 19.8 million shares, edging up 47 cents. The UBS Warburg Brokerage expects the company to meet third quarter estimated results. Nokia down 83 cents. Pfizer moved up 83 cents. Then General Electric up 45 cents after good gain yesterday on record earnings. earnings. AT&T Wireless Services was up 53 cents, fifth in volume. Guidant rebounding $1.31. The stock has been down sharply in the last 2 days after the FDA failed to approve the company's new contact defibrillator. AT&T down 58 cents. EMC moved up 61 cents. Narrow movement here. Motorola backing down 56 cents after gaining nearly $2.50 yesterday on the smaller than expected second quarter loss of 11 cents a share. Micron Technologies down 98 cents, 10th in big board volume. Advanced Micro Devices fell $1.62 after the close yesterday. Of course, company in with second quarter earnings of a nickel, a penny above the street estimate, but way down from 67 cents the previous year. And the company says it may have a third quarter loss and lower sales. Aetna moved up $1.85. The managed healthcare group was up today on optimism about the earnings outlook and also about solid health insurance premium business in the future. Alcoa moved up 73 cents. Company board of directors approved the repurchase of 50 million shares of common stock. Kimberly-Clark down $1.10 after the close yesterday. This company forecast 2001 earnings at the low end of the street estimate range of $3.40 to $3.55 a share. The New York Times up $2.43. The Bear Stearns brokerage upgraded it from attractive to buy. And Ocean Energy rising $1.36. The latest issue of Business Week magazine suggests the company is a potential takeover target and it might fetch between $25 and $30 a share. Discount Auto Parts up $1.61. The company didn't return our calls, but this auto parts group has been strong in recent days, mainly, I think, in anticipation of a pickup in business in that area. Perez. This is an energy holding company in Argentina. The stock up $1.47. Today, Argentina's Merval stock index rebounded 5.6%. However, it was still down 28% on the week due to the financial problems down there. 3.5 Systems up another $1.64 after gaining over $3 yesterday on Motorola's improved outlook. This company makes liquid crystal displays for a lot of Motorola products. NTL down another $1.33. This is in reaction to the recent drop in the stock. Today, the company reaffirmed it will meet or beat second quarter and 2001 earnings projections. Pinnacle West Capital fell $3.10, lower earnings for the second quarter, 79 cents, down from $1.06 last year. And Great Lakes Chemical down $1.81. The company sees lower than expected second quarter earnings in the range of 33 to 35 cents. The street was expecting 61 cents. Goldman Sachs downgraded the stock to just market perform. NASDAQ trading, gain of 9.05 today. For the week, that index up about 80 2/3 points. Volume down to 1.5 billion shares from 1.8 billion yesterday. 19 to 17 ratio of advances over decliners. Microsoft topped the active list down 26 cents. Today, the Justice Department asked an appeals court to expedite Microsoft antitrust case to a lower court, not to the Supreme Court, in order to consider remedies for any violations. Qualcomm up $2.22. That's no doubt a positive reaction to news that Beijing will host the 2008 Summer Olympics. Qualcomm does a lot of business in China. Cisco Systems up 88 cents. Intel rose 9 cents. And Juniper Networks down $1.03 after reporting disappointing results yesterday. Dell Computer edged up 58 cents. Siebel Systems a gain of 76 cents. Sun Microsystems up 29 cents. It'll report earnings next week. Applied Materials was down 7 cents. Amgen moved up 54 cents, 10th in NASDAQ dollar volume. CompuCredit had a good day, up $3.56. The company expects second quarter earnings to be 5 to 7 cents above the street estimate of 25 cents a share. Wright Medical Group went public today. 7.5 million shares offered at $12.50. The stock opened at $15.31. The high of the day, $16.24, backed off a bit. And then Daktronics losing $3.17. This company sees first quarter earnings at 6 to 8 cents versus the street estimate of 15 cents a share. The American Exchange Index down 0.77 today. That index lost 6.25 points for the week. Cadent down $2.30. This was the big percentage loser. Company used to be called Thermo Fiber Tech, and yesterday it completed a 1-for-5 reverse split. Income Opportunity Realty Investors down $1.25, another big percentage loser. We could not reach any corporate officer, no news on the wires. Finally, the index shares all on the plus side. The depository receipts rising 1.05. And that's the Wall Street wrap-up. Susie?
Paul, as you said, China got the gold. Beijing, China will play host to the Olympics in 2008. The announcement came today in Moscow. Beijing beat out Toronto, Paris, Istanbul, and Japan. Despite criticism of China's human rights record, Beijing was clearly the leading contender. 7 years ago, it lost to Sydney, Australia to host the 2000 Games. The news set off a wave of official celebrations in China. The Summer Olympics are expected to be an economic bonanza for Beijing, bringing in billions of dollars in new investment in infrastructure and facilities.
How Federal Reserve policy is like a trip to the beach.
Coming up next week, many Dow components report earnings, including IBM, Citigroup, GM, Boeing, Intel, Microsoft, Philip Morris, and Kodak. Our Friday guest market monitor is Al Goldman, Chief Market Strategist at AG Edwards. On the economic calendar, on Monday, business inventories, and on Wednesday, it's the Consumer Price Index, and also Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan speaks to the House Financial Services Committee.
My guest market monitor this week is Ned Riley, Chief Investment Strategist for State Street Global Advisors. Welcome back, Ned.
Well, thanks for having me here, Paul.
Yesterday's 238-point run-up on the Dow and the 104-point jump in the NASDAQ composite were quite impressive, and the follow-through today. Do you think this rally is signaling a major market bottom?
Well, I think there is a bottom clearly right now, but I'm not sure I get totally enthusiastic. I think the month of July is going to look pretty good. And it's the old adage, buy on bad news and sell on good news. And I think we're going to see a lot of bad news coming out, particularly when CEOs and CFOs talk about the next 6 months. But I do think the market's already discounted almost everything, Armageddon and everything else going with it. So I think from a stock price perspective, the market should be better in the second half. An economic perspective, I would suggest to people, don't mistake the economic negativity for the stock market rally.
You know, you have said in the past and on our program in early January that the NASDAQ Composite Index is a good proxy for the direction of the economy. Well, it was 2,600 back in January when you were last with us as a market monitor, and now here we are just below 2,100. That's a pretty good proxy because we'd have had a lousy economy, but it's picking up now, right?
It is picking up, and I think there's a lag involved in that whole process. The NASDAQ is down 21% since January. And I do think that if we can stabilize around this level, we may actually boost consumer confidence just a bit. The NASDAQ is owned by a lot of people, and a lot of individuals own the technology stocks. And clearly, as those technology stocks eroded in the first half of the year, I do think consumer attitude slipped a lot. So the retail sales numbers that we saw recently, I think reflect at least that sort of moribund attitude right at the moment. But I expect maybe by the fourth quarter, we're going to see a little bit improvement in terms of retail sales activity and the economy itself.
How important is Microsoft's market action to the overall market?
Well, I think it was one catalyst in several that we saw the other day. And clearly with the Microsoft situation, at least they indicated they beat the consensus forecast.
Okay. All right. Now, when you were with us on January 12th, you still liked Merck. You had recommended it at much lower prices on our program. It was 81 then. Now it's around 62. You still like it, or have you gotten rid of it, or what?
No, I still like it, Paul. I think it's one of those companies where you've got to buy it when the adverse news is out there. And clearly between this patent issue and the fact that most of the generic drug companies are claiming they're getting market share away from the ethical drugs, I think I still like Merck, and I think it looks good long term.
You liked Pfizer back then. It was 41. Now it's backed off to around 38, 39. Not bad. You still like that one?
I do. I would hold on to Pfizer right at the moment.
All right. And you were getting itchy about some of the high-tech titans that had really gotten clobbered. You like Compaq at around, I think it was 18, and it's backed off to 16 or so. You still like it?
I still like Compaq, and
Okay. And Dell, you recommended at 22, and it's now in the high 20s. So you got a profit in that one. You going to stay with it?
I'd stay with it, too. Number one in its industry, I think it looks good.
What are you buying, if anything, in this market?
Well, I'm staying with the technology, not exclusively. For those out there, I believe in total diversification, but I do think the technology group provides some opportunity. But I'm sticking with the primary producers within each field: Dell, Cisco, Microsoft, Intel, EMC, just to name some of the kingpins of the industries, because they have the cash, because they have the staying power, and by the time we come out of this recovery, I think we're going to see a smaller competition and competitive field out there.
Let's look at some of the major old stalwarts. How about a General Motors or a Ford?
Well, I'd like to say I think they're cheap right at the moment, but I do fear that the domestic manufacturers are losing market share to the imports, and I am very concerned that the cyclical earnings in those companies aren't going to exceed the previous peak. So I don't like the autos too much unless you can really be tricky about finding that bottom and then trying to sell them out while they peak out.
Any other sector that you do like?
Yeah, I still like the financial services, Paul. I liked them for the last year and a half. Right now, I think the spread banks have done exceptionally well, and the regular banks, the financial services banks, haven't. I would go to the financial services banks such as Citigroup and some of the others who are clearly depressed because of the market conditions.
All right. Well, some encouraging words there. At least we're going to get a summer rally, right?
I hope so.
Okay. Thanks very much, Ned.
My pleasure, Paul. Thank you.
My guest, Ned Riley, Chief Investment Strategist for State Street Global Advisors.
Recapping today's market action, the Dow gained 60 points and the NASDAQ closed up 9. And please be sure to join us at our worldwide website, nbr.com. And finally tonight, for the cat lover who has everything, how about a perfume for your feline friend that you can also wear? Yes, it's called Oh My Cat. It's a scent that's designed for both cats and humans, and it'll hit store shelves next month. The company that's marketing the perfume says, and we're not making this up, that people and their pets can bond by wearing the same set. So, Oh My Cat contains jasmine, magnolia, freesia, and sandalwood scents. But, Paul, absolutely no catnip.
I'm afraid that felines make me catatonic. We just don't get along. I love dogs, though.
Oh, well, that's good. But it'd be catastrophic.
Catatonic.
That's Nightly Business Report for Friday, July 13th. I'm Susie Garib. Have a great weekend, everyone. You too, Paul.
You too, Susie. I'm Paul Kangas, wishing all of you the best of goodbyes.
Nightly Business Report, television's most watched daily business news program, is brought to you by...
It's an automated, wired, digitized push zero for more options world. Who can help business make sense of it all? For professional services, the answer is the people of Deloitte & Touche.
A.G. Edwards, combining tradition and technology to serve clients' investment needs. A.G. Edwards, trusted advice, exceptional service.
Franklin Templeton Investments, providing a perspective for success through Franklin, Templeton, and Mutual Series funds. Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain perspective.
Compaq. Technology solutions to help you achieve your inspirations for life and work. Inspiration technology from Compaq.
And made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
It's really over. Tonight at 8:30, hear from the reporters who covered the 2001 Oregon legislative session on 7 days here on OPB. It's where you belong.
Your personal computer can enable you to research investments or to trade online. Find out how in NVR's new video, Log On to Investing. To order by credit card, call 1-800-535-5864.
funding for local broadcast of Nightly Business Report has been provided by viewers like you and by the following.
Safe Corporation, working for Oregon to prevent on-the-job injuries and to manage the cost of workers' compensation insurance. Safe, on the job for Oregon.
Not everyone understands supply chain management, but we do. We straighten out supply chains for leading companies worldwide. CNF, where supply meets demand.
Hello, I'm Louis Rukeyser, inviting you to join me for the next edition of Wall Street Week, where my guest will be one of the steadiest performers in the volatile world of big company investments. He's Alan Blake, who runs the Smith Barney Large Cap Growth Fund. Let's see what he plans to do now in a market that no longer is so convinced that big is beautiful.
That's tonight at 9 here on OPB.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, we continue our visit to Austin, Texas. Really? Another great hour of antiques and the stories behind them.
I'm just shocked.
Antiques Roadshow, only on PBS.
Here on OPB, Monday night at 8. Corporate members Young and Rohr Group and Integra Telecom have made a contribution to the OPB Program Fund for Excellence. Additional funding has been provided by you, the contributing members of OPB.
No story can match the thrills, drama, and romance of Aviation Story. Experience the intrigue and